Fred.
Yeah.
Hey, so you riding on a horse at a steady pace. To your left is an elephant running the same speed. To your right is a steep drop-off. There's a horse running in front of you that you can't overtake. And behind you is a lion chasing you at the same speed. What do you do to get out of this dangerous situation?
I don't know, bro. What you do?
You get your drunk ass off the merry-go-round. Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, what happens once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in a decade?
What is it?
The letter M. Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, what you get when you cross a fish with an elephant?
What you get?
Swimming trunks. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, what you call a bench full of white people?
What you call it?
The NBA. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, what your boss and the Sleeky got in common?
What they got in common?
They both funny watching tumble down the stairs. So a lawyer's driving down the street one day when he blows through a stop sign. Sheriff sees him, pulls him over, comes up to the car. Says, license and registration, please. Lawyer says, for what? Sheriff says, well, you didn't stop for that stop sign completely. Lawyer says, well, I slowed down. I didn't see no one, so I rolled through. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, if you can tell me the difference between slow down and stop, I'll give you my license, you give me the ticket. If not, you don't give me a ticket and you send me on my way. Sheriff says, fair enough. He says, can you step out the car, sir? Lawyer jumps out the car. Sheriff grabs his nightstick, starts beating him. As he's doing, he says, now, do you want me to slow down or stop? So little Johnny was sitting at the kitchen table one night when his dad looked at him. He said, Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? Little Johnny says, I want to be a doctor. His dad says, why do you want to be a doctor? He said, it's the only profession where you can have a woman take all of her clothes off and then stick her husband with the bill. Roses are red, violets are blue. I got 5 fingers. This one's for you. So Fred thinks he's smart. He told me the only food that bring a tear to your eye is the onion. So I threw a coconut at his head.
No, he didn't.
Roses are red, your blood is too. You look like a monkey that belongs in a zoo. Don't worry, I'll be there too, not in a cage just laughing at you. Fred!
Yeah.
How you know light travels faster than sound?
How you know that?
Because people look bright until you hear them speak. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, tell me why my old lady told me I got the body of a Greek god.
You know Buddha's not Greek.
Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, how you get 500 cows in the barn?
How you do that?
You put a bingo sign over the door. So a wife asks her husband, she says, what do you like about me more, my pretty face or my sexy body? He looks her head to toe and he says, I like your sense of humor. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, how's a big company like a tree full of monkeys?
Alright.
Because they always sit on all different branches, but the monkeys on the top look down and see nothing but smiling faces, while the monkeys on the bottom look up and see nothing but assholes. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, why can't orphans play baseball?
Why can't they play baseball?
Because they don't know where home is. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, why is Santa so jolly?
Why you jolly?
Because he know where all the naughty girls are. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, what you doing when 50 zombies surround your house?
What you do?
Hope it's Halloween. So a woman had 20 kids, 10 boys, 10 girls. She called them all Leroy, L-E-R-O-Y and L-E-R-O-I-G-H. So a man asked her one day, he said, why'd you call them all Leroy? She said, it's easier to get them to come when you want them all to do something like, Leroy, it's time for bed, Leroy, it's time for dinner. The man says, how do you call them when you just want one of them? She said, well, I call them by their last name, of course. So Johnny's at a Christmas party when he walks up to his boss and he says, hey, I bet you $6,000 I can piss in that cup from 30 feet away. To which the boss replied, yeah, I'd like to see you try. Johnny whips it out, starts peeing all over the floor and laughs. The secretary says, damn it, Johnny. The boss says, hey, what's wrong with you? He says, she just bet me $20,000 that he could piss all over the floor and you'd be happy about it. Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the difference between a genealogist and a gynecologist?
What's the difference?
The genealogist looks up the family tree while the gynecologist looks up the family bush. Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you call 2 Mexicans playing basketball?
What you call them?
One on one. Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Hey, how you get a one-armed blonde out of a tree?
How you do it?
You wave to her. Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Hey, what you do if you get attacked by a group of clowns?
What you do?
You go for the juggler. Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Hey, what do clowns do when they get rich?
What they do?
They make it rain. Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Hey, what you call a cow with no legs?
What you call it?
Ground beef. Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Hey, what you call a running nun?
What you call it?
A Roman Catholic. So little Johnny got scared one day and he called 911. Operator answered, 911, what's your emergency? He says, 2 girls are fighting over me. Operator says, so what's the emergency? To which little Johnny replied, the ugly one's winning. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, where can you buy most of your chess pieces?
Where can you buy it?
A pawn shop. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
How you know carrots are good for your eyes?
How you know?
Cause you never seen a rabbit with glasses. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, what you call a polar bear in the woods?
What you call it?
Lost. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, what you call a bear with no teeth?
What you call
A gummy bear. Hey, Fred!
it? Yeah.
Hey, what did the elephant say to the naked man?
What is that?
He said, how you breathe out of that thing? Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, what you do if a blonde throw a hand grenade at you?
What you do?
You pick it up, pull the pin, and throw it back. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Hey, what's the difference between a white owl and a black owl?
What's the difference?
The white owl goes, hoo, and the black owl goes, who that, who that? So my grandfather told me one day that my generation relies too much on technology. So I yelled at him, told him his does too, and unplugged his life support. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
Man, I just found out my neighborhood barber just got locked up for selling drugs.
Bro, that sucks.
Yeah, I know. I've been his customers for 4 years and I didn't even know he cut hair. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
How many South Americans it take to screw in a light bulb?
How many it take?
A Brazilians. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
What happens when you play a country song backwards?
What happened?
You get a new house, a new truck, and a new dog. Hey, Fred!
Yeah.
How's Christmas like your job?
How's it like?
Because you do all the work and the fat guy in the suit takes all the credit. So a man broke out of prison after 15 years. He breaks into a house looking for guns and money, and he comes across a couple in bed. He yanks the husband out of bed, ties him to a chair, jumps on top of the woman, bends down, kisses her on the neck. He gets up, goes to the bathroom, closes the door. The husband says, look, honey, so that man was wearing a jailhouse uniform. He's probably very dangerous, probably horny, and he probably wants to have sex. If he wants sex, just give it to him. Otherwise, he's probably going to hurt us. You're just going to have to take one for the team. To which his wife replied, no, honey, he didn't kiss me. He bent down and said he thought you were cute and asked if we had any Vaseline. I told him that there was some in the bathroom cabinet, so buckle up and take one for the team. So my friend told me he gets teary whenever his partner makes tender love to him. At first, I thought he was just an over-exaggerating sissy until I remembered he was in prison. So a man gets on a plane with 6 kids, and as he gets them seated, sits down, the woman across the aisle looks at him and says, are those kids yours? He says, no, I work for a condom company. These are customer complaints. So little Johnny and Susie are getting married when Johnny's dad pulls him to the side and says, look, son, when I married your mom, the first thing we did when we got home, I took my pants off, I handed it to her and told her to put them on. She said, I can't put these on. They're way too big. I can't wear your pants. He said, of course you can. He says, I wear the pants in this house and I always will. Ever since that day, we never had an argument. So Johnny took the advice the day he got married, did the same thing. To which Susie replied, she took her panties off, she handed them to Johnny, she said, put these on. Johnny does it just to keep her happy, tries to put them on, and he's like, what's the point of this? He says, your panties are too small, I can't get in them. She said, of course you can't, and you never will if you don't change that attitude. So a guy's heading home one night when he realizes it's his daughter's birthday and he forgot to buy her something. So he goes to the mall and he goes to the toy store, asks the clerk, he said, how much is the Barbies in the windows? She said, which one? She said, Barbie goes on vacations, $19.95. Barbie goes to the beach, $19.95. Barbie goes to the gym, $19.95. Barbie gets a divorce, $265. He said, well, why is that one so much more than the others? She said, well, that's obvious. Barbie gets divorced, comes with Ken's house, his boat, his car, and half of his belongings. So a husband exclaims to his wife one night, he says, your butt's getting really, really big. He said, it's bigger than the barbecue grill. So later that night, he's in bed with her, he's trying to make some advances, and she shrugs him off. He says, are you all right, Ronnie? What's wrong? She's like, you think I'm going to warm up this big-ass grill for one little weenie? So a man asked a farmer near a field, he said, excuse me, sir, do you mind if I cut across your field? I have to catch the 4:30 train. To which the farmer replied, sure, and if my bull sees you, you'll even catch the 4 o'clock train. So a woman's looking into the mirror and she says, I look fat. So she goes to her husband. She said, can you give me one good compliment? To which her husband replied, you've got really good eyesight. So 3 boys are discussing their father's favorite foods. The first boy says, my dad loves to eat cheeseburgers. The second boy says, my dad loves to eat fried chicken. The third boy says, my dad loves to eat light. Confused, the other 2 boys said, how is that possible? To which the third boy replied, every night, Daddy tells Mom turn off the light so he can eat. So a guy goes to a bar and he asks the bartender for 12 shots of vodka. Bartender says, wow, 12 shots? Are you celebrating something? Guy says, yeah, I just experienced my first blowjob. Bartender says, congratulations, let me buy you one on the house. To which the guy replied, no, if the 12th shot don't get the taste out of my mouth, nothing will. So 3 guys survive a plane crash. They're wandering for days in the middle of nowhere. They're thirsty, they're starving. They come across a house all by itself. They go, they knock on the door. This crusty old lady answers and says, please, ma'am, we're thirsty and we're starving. She says, I'll tell you what, I'll feed you if one of y'all can please me sexually. After a brief discussion, one of the guys said, all right, guys, I'm going to take one for the team. So he leads the woman into her bedroom. He says, lay down, spread your legs, close your eyes. He runs down to the kitchen real quick, grabbed the first cock-shaped thing he could find, an ear of corn, runs upstairs, jams it in her, throws it out the window. He goes back, grabs another one, does his thing, throws it out the window. The woman's finally satisfied and agrees to cook for the guys. So he goes out to go get his friends, and his friends tell him, hey, we're not hungry. We just got done eating some nice buttery corn.